shrimp is one of my favorite proteins to work with, just because it's versatile, it's easy, and it's delicious. Some of you may be wondering, well, what do I do with it? There's so many different sizes and different kinds. I'm Danielle Alex, and I'm here to teach you everything you need to know about shrimp. These are some that you'll quite often find in the grocery store. You'll find some that are on the smaller side, medium, large, extra large, and then of course there's the colossal shrimp. The colossal shrimp, usually from warm water. So warm water shrimp tend to be larger here in the United States. And the smaller shrimp tend to be from colder waters, and those are sweeter. You might also be a little intimidated when you go in the store and you see something like a U16 to 18, or you'll see something that says 26 to 28. And you're like, what do these numbers mean? Believe me, I get it. What that means is simply the amount of pieces per pound. So if you see something that says 16 to 18, that means there are about 16 or 18 pieces per pound. Shrimp are available year round. And of course, when you purchase them, you want to make sure that they smell of the sea. So it should have a light hint of the sea with no ammonia smell. Most commercially purchased shrimp has been frozen. When thawed, it is opaque. Now, if you buy fresh shrimp, that shrimp will be almost translucent. So there's a huge difference you'll notice between the two, frozen and fresh. Of course, you can buy them peeled and deveined, which makes it super easy for you at home. However, I like to buy them with the shell on. When I remove the shell, I can use the shell for things like shrimp stock. And then of course, you can cook them with the shell on, which also adds a lot more flavor to the dish. Before leaving your fish counter, you always want to make sure to ask the fishmonger for a bag of ice. I like to do this because storing my shrimp on ice for the journey home ensures that the shrimp will stay fresh and cold. When I purchase frozen shrimp, I want to make sure that the bag is not loaded with ice chunks. When I see ice chunks, that informs me that it hasn't been stored properly. So take a look at these shrimp. They're nice and individually frozen, and it's easy to kind of move them around. They're not sticking to each other. So these are shrimp I just brought back from the store. I'm gonna make sure I rinse them under cold water. And then of course I'm gonna drain off any of that excess liquid. And then here, to store them overnight or for later use today, I'm going to place them in an airtight container. But the most important thing is making sure that there is either a paper towel or a clean kitchen towel, something to absorb any excess liquid. And it's ready to go in the refrigerator. Now we've purchased our shrimp, we've stored our shrimp, now let's get ready to actually work with them. I'm gonna show you how to peel and to devein shrimp. The first one, we're gonna take the entire shell off. So I'm gonna start by taking the inside, and then I'm just gonna work my way around, and it comes off really easy. You see that? And then I usually just pinch it right at the very end, and I pull. Easy. Now, I'll take a knife, and right down the middle, I'll run my knife, but I'm cautious not to go too far in, because if you go too far in, then you're gonna cut the shrimp in half. And now, inside, I see a little bit of the vein, and I'm just gonna pull that out, right like that. It's nice and fine, and you can discard that. I love to keep the shells because the shells I use to make a stock. Now our second shrimp, in case you're feeling a little fancy, you're gonna go ahead and peel it all the way until the tail. Sometimes that just leaves a nicer presentation. And now for our last guy. So say you're doing something like a paella and you want this beautiful presentation. I'll actually leave the tail on and we're gonna leave the head on. So now that's just peeled, right? You have the head, you have the tail. And what I'm gonna do is a different technique. So instead of running my knife all the way down the bottom, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually just gonna take a little snippet from the bottom, like this. And then I'm going to gently create a little incision. And now I'm gonna look for the vein. And I've got it, so I'm going to gently pull. And the reason I cut through the bottom is because if I were to just cut through here and pull, it wouldn't come out, because you need to actually cut the line at the bottom, and then you make a small incision and pull it out. And isn't that a nice presentation? People are gonna think you went to culinary school. Now we're gonna cook our shrimp, so I'm gonna show you just something that's really simple and easy to do. So let's go to the stove. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my skillet on the stove and turn it on medium-high heat to make sure my pan is nice and hot before I add my oil and butter. I like to mix the two because of the flavor and it prevents the butter from burning. When I sear the shrimp, I like to make sure that I'm not overcrowding the pan. Overcrowding the pan makes the shrimp steam instead of sear, and I want a nice sear on the bottom of the shrimp. And there you have it. Everything you need to know about shrimp. So good, butter and garlic. Mm.